President General Dwight D. Eisenhower and his deputy commanders chart the liberation of a lost continent, plan when and where the mighty armies of the United Nations will strike. Today, northern France is that battleground.
A majority of the American troops, the 4th Division included, had not seen combat as of yet in the Second World War. This was going to be their trial by fire.
Nothing was left to chance. Every loading operation was rehearsed and timed in advance. Every soldier knew his station. Every man knew just where he was to fit into the gigantic pattern.
But above all else, there was just this devout sense of purpose.
Every Jeep, every tank, every piece of mobile equipment was assigned its place in the grand strategy of attack.
They knew that morality and history were on their side, and they were ready to embark on what they hoped would be the beginning of the end of Nazi Germany.
Then on the 5th day of June 1944, just as you see them here, a fleet of more than 4,000 ships put out from England. This was D-Day.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
The great fleet was underway.
Early morning hours of June 6, 1944, found me on a troop ship with the rest of my company headed for the beaches of Normandy, France. I was a 20-year-old platoon sergeant trying to lead a platoon that had 38 men plus 2 medics.
We were all scared, seasick, cold, wet, crowded into the boats in an artillery barrage, and dodging shells from a new weapon we called Screaming Mimis. If they didn't hit you, they sure scared you with their noises.
Our battalion, 2nd Battalion, 8th Infantry Regiment, was the first wave of seaborne troops to land on Utah Beach. Everything happened very fast for this 20-year-old soldier who felt like I was in a fog. Then the soldiers on the assault boat dropped the ramp and we hit the water, which was about waist deep. We headed for shore. Artillery and small arms fire were all about the beach.
I went in on the 3rd wave about 20 minutes after the 1st wave hit. When the ramp went down, the first man off went in over his head. For a short guy like me, I didn't know what to do with all the things I had to carry. On the beach, it was not a very nice thing to see. Bodies in the water, some wounded, some dead.
Men were getting hit all around, and General Teddy Roosevelt came by with a .45 caliber pistol in one hand and a riding crop in the other. He told us to get off the beach before we were killed.
There was a lot of shelling and small arms fire going on. Many men were lined up behind the seawall waiting to move inland.
We tried to move to where we thought the causeway was, but got pinned down by a machine gun fire. We finally got moving and had to cross a minefield. I lost 2 or 3 men. My medic got his foot blown off. We made it to a causeway at a dead run and started to get fire from a knee mortar. A round hit close and I got shrapnel in my right leg. I didn't know I was hit until a medic saw blood. He gave me a shot and a Band-Aid.
They had been practicing, of course, with aerial reconnaissance. They got new pictures almost every day of what the beaches they were going to hit looked like. What happened on D-Day was one of the Navy control ships hit a mine and sank, and the tide was such that it swept them to the left, so they hit 2,000 yards off of where they were supposed to hit. So when they came ashore with the first wave, which was 2nd of the 8th Infantry with Teddy Roosevelt, his famous comment was, well, we'll start the war from here. Interestingly, it was probably a good thing because where they planned to hit was more heavily defended than where they actually did hit. If you look at the statistics from D-Day, 4th Division lost 199, 197 killed in action on D-Day, and in comparison to the airborne troops and Omaha Beach, that was very, very short, very small. However, the month of June, the 4th Division had more casualties than anybody because they had quite a bloody fight all the way up the peninsula to liberate Sherborne. But probably missing the beach they were supposed to hit was a godsend.
I had my rifle belt, and I had my 2 bandoliers of ammunition and 4 hand grenades. And when he handed me that, I thought, hey, this is it. I was no hero, believe me. I was a buck-ass private at that time, and I just didn't think I was going to make it. And I think a lot of us felt that way.
I can't remember too much the first day, but the second day, everything's so quiet. Just like a storm coming up, everything's quiet. And almost everything tore loose. Man, we lost half our outfit, including the captain, our company commander. We had a lot of officers. And after that second day, you couldn't find an officer. And every day, we did the same thing over again.
I was 22 when I enlisted in the Army. They were all young kids in their 20s. In fact, anybody that was 25 or 30 was old to us. It was a job that we didn't want to do, but we had to do it. Following orders was probably the most important thing. I learned how to follow orders, and I did exactly what I was told to do. Something instilled in me. It was a chapter in my life, and begin to find out that D-Day was a historical day. I had no idea today that it was going to be such a big thing, but yet there's younger generations are not aware of it there, and there's very few of us guys left. I was no hero. The real heroes are those guys that didn't make it or are still buried over there or buried here in the States. I honor them, but I sure don't honor war.
I got so tired of playing goat carrying wire up and down the mountains when somebody said there's a new Superman outfit being organized. They're called paratroopers. And they make $50 extra a month just for jumping out of airplanes. And so I said, at 25 cents an hour in this business, well, that sounds like good to me. So I went down to company headquarters, signed up for paratroops, and was immediately taken, sent to Fort Benning, Georgia.
I saw this bulletin where they offered $50 more a month to volunteer for the Airborne. That's what interested me. Yeah. Well, if I'm going to be in uniform, I'm going to earn some more money. So I signed up a form. After I finished my training in Buckley Field, there I received my orders to report to Fort Benning.
So after X number of weeks of training and marching and shooting and jumping, we head for France.
The time,
2200 hours, June 5th, 1944. The place, England. C-47s in their new invasion battle paints stand waiting.
We go to the airport on the night of June 5, 1944. And there are thousands of planes now loaded with paratroopers, British and American, Canadian. We're loaded with all sorts of gear. I think we figured we had, with counting the weight of the parachute, about 100 pounds. It was difficult to get in the aircraft. We had to have help to get into the aircraft. And we're nervous, excited, frightened, knowing now we're going to France, spearhead the invasion of Europe. Well, those kinds of situations, physical conditions, tend to have effect on an individual. And so numbers of us had to be let down, leave the plane, and look for a retreat.
But when we got into the airplane, we were scared. Like, thought, what the heck did I get myself into? But going to the German lines, the beach, they started with anti-aircraft guns. Jesus. Then the airplane went down from 400 to 300 feet to avoid the flak exploding higher.
And the sky is full of flak and full of shell or billets coming up, you know. And then one of them, when a tracer, you know there's about 20 more in between. I seen them go through my chute, but it's all fast. And then you're heading for the ground and you're not in the air very long.
If you ever go to a fireworks display, and at the end they have a lot left over and they throw it all up one time and everything bang, well, that's what it looked like when you went out the door and your feet was in there and you had bullets going. Well, they were going through your chute and you're lucky if you weren't hit. So we lost a lot of men.
It was like the 4th of July. Planes were coming in. You'd hear one crash, and then everything would light up. There was a lot of machine gun fire going up toward the planes because they were coming in at low levels. As they jumped out, they'd aim toward the door by which we were exiting the plane. And my plane dropped us at 300 feet. The chute, by the time it fully opens, you're about 100 feet from the ground. So you're coming in hard. And it's a hard landing, but we were accustomed to it.
When a parachute unit jumps at night, is the fact that you get separated immediately. Depending on the wind, how fast the plane is going, determines how far it is between each person that jumps out. Usually you hit the ground, you're all by yourself. There's other people all around you, but you don't see them yet.
We finally got down to the bridges and we held them, and then a few more people come in. And you heard about lost patrols and all. Well, they didn't know we had taken our objective for 4 days because we were cut off. So we just held and waited till the lighter troops and the other troops caught up with us. Then we assembled back with our headquarters again. And then we marched on the town of Carentan. We took Carentan.